Darkroom recently added support for preset sharing, so in this video I'll show you how you can create and share your own presets right from your phone. At the end of the video, I'll share the preset I've made so you can install it and try it yourself. I've broken down the process into 5 steps. You don't have to do every step for every preset you make, but it helps to understand how they all fit in with each other. Let's start with step 1. Have a goal in mind. It's actually really hard to start making a preset just by opening a random photo and starting to play around with the sliders. It's much better to start with a clear idea of what you want in your head so that you know when you're done and if you've succeeded. For the preset I'll be making in this video, the leaves are starting to turn and the pumpkin patches are open, so I'll go for a fall aesthetic. For inspiration, I start with Pinterest or Instagram. I'll search for fall photos and see what aesthetic comes up. And right away, I can see that a lot of the photos are a little bit underexposed. They seem saturated, but it's mainly just oranges and yellows. And by and large, the whites are faded, and the blacks are faded, and the blues are just kind of desaturated all around. Now that we have an image of what we're going for, we'll switch to Darkroom because we're ready to get started with step 2, lighting adjustments. I'll start with brightness and contrast adjustments in the Curves tool. This is usually the most visible change made by a preset. First, I want to make my photos a bit darker and fade it out in the highlights and shadows. I'll do that by reducing the curve everywhere so that the image is darker, and then I'll lift up the shadows and I'll reduce the whites. And right away you can see that we've already started achieving much of the effect. This is good for now, and if I want to, I can always refine this down the line. Step 3, color grading. Next, we'll go to the individual color curves to do color grading. Because I want these photos to be really warm and orange, I want to pull back the blues throughout the image. I'll do this in the blue curve. So I'll reduce blues throughout the image to create a nice curve. But you'll notice that the image is really yellow now, and that's because there's still a lot of green left. So I'll also reduce the amount of green in the image, and that's how we'll end up with a nice blend of orange. That looks really good here. Step 4, color adjustments. Now to really make this feel like fall, I want to desaturate my blues and aquas, which I'll do first by going to the color tool, selecting blue, and desaturating it. I'll also do the same for aqua and for purple. Next, I want my greens to appear a little bit more yellow, so I'll shift their hue over to yellow. I want my yellows to be really orange, and my reds to be a little bit more orange, and I actually want my oranges to be just a little bit more red. I'll pump up the saturation for those orange tones, and some of the yellow tones, though a little bit less. And if you look, we've already achieved much of the look we were going for. For now, that's all I want to commit to. I may come back and make more color adjustments later, but I'll do that when I have an explicit need for it. Step 5, add details and effects. To wrap up, I'll go back to the adjustments tool and work on tones and details. Because I'm going for a punchy look, I'll increase clarity. Next, to go for a little bit more of a vintage vibe, I'll add some grain. And if you remember from what we saw in Pinterest, there was actually pretty strong vignette on most of the photos. And I think that looks pretty good, honestly. So I'll wrap up by going to the presets tool and giving it a name. Let's say fall 22. And of course, the last step is to share this. So I'll go find it, tap on it again to show its options, tap on share. Darkroom will generate sample images and upload them to the cloud, and just like that I have a link that I can share with anyone who can install this preset. Here's a QR code for the preset I just made, in fact. If you have the latest version of Darkroom, point your camera to the video and the link will take you directly to the app where you can try it yourself. I'll include the link in the description in any case. Thank you so much for joining us back on the channel, and I look forward to sharing some more advanced tips with you soon on how to make your presets even more professional. Until then, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button so you'll be notified whenever we have a new video available.